Hello, everyone, and welcome to our new Unreal Editor for Fortnite Build Along show. So sit back, relax, and build with us. I'm your host, Tina, and today with me I have our two wonderful, fantastic guests, Heather and Josh. I'll go through and have them introduce themselves in just a moment. Just in case anyone is curious, you've probably seen Shane, our other community manager, around here for the other shows. I'm going to be the host for this one. You may have seen me over on our Unreal Engine channel for Inside Unreal. But I'm gonna be hanging out a little bit more. I'm gonna be hanging out for this one because I want to watch what cool things these two builders are gonna be making. So, without further ado, I'll hand it on over. Heather, do you want to tell us just a little bit about yourself in case anyone's unfamiliar?
Yeah, hi everybody. I'm Heather Storm. I manage the creator evangelism team here at Epic, and basically, I just get to do cool things in UEFN all day and then help you all make cool games. So excited to be here, and yeah, excited to build some Fall Guys stuff today. So yeah, that's me. Josh, tell you.
Hey guys, I'm Josh. I'm a creator evangelist for UEFN. I'm excited to be here, build some Fall Guys maps, just hang out. It's gonna be pretty chill. We're just gonna be, in UEFN answering questions, that sort of thing.
Awesome. Well, I'm really excited to get into it. I know y'all have a ton of stuff that you have prepped to show us, to dig into, to build, so we can kind of just watch the process, see what it's like going through. So let's get into it, shall we? Time's a ticking. Well, I'll hand it over. I think, Heather, we were going to start with you, right?
Yeah, we'll start with the game design doc that Josh and I wrote. So there we go. So we just created a quick one slider or one pager to describe the kind of game that we wanted to build today. One, to give Josh and I a semblance of understanding of where we're going to end up by the end of the stream. But two, because always making a game design doc before you jump into making a game can be really helpful in setting those early goals and making sure that the game you're creating is fun and has the intended experience that you kind of set out for. So Josh and I worked on this just to kind of keep our scope reasonable for this quick stream. And so here's the goal. So today we're going to be building a Fall Guys map. And we thought it would be super fun to take the traditional Fall Guys bean, but kind of flip the concept on its head and build a dropper game. Josh, do you want to talk a little bit about that? What that is?
Yeah, so the dropper game, unlike our traditional Fall Guys game where you're jumping on things and avoiding falling, in this dropper game we're going to make it so that you're falling and you're avoiding landing on things. So we'll send the Fall Guy down a big tunnel, and there will be obstacles in the way that they'll have to avoid in the air.
Yeah, and essentially, like, the further you fall, the harder it's going to be to avoid those obstacles. So we're going to build two levels today. We'll start with just a Fall Guys level where we use Fall Guys assets. This will be just to get the foundation of how the gameplay works. And then we're going to do a second level, and you all are going to put into the chat later. We're going to run a poll to decide whether or not the second level is fantasy themed or space themed. So that'll be fun. Tina's going to help us do that because, oh boy, we're going to be really busy building.
That's what I'm here for. Here for the polls, everybody.
So then the other things that we were thinking about as we were designing what we wanted to build today, the main key design constraint that Josh highlighted already is that this is really different from an only down because we want the player to avoid hitting things, which also means that we don't want to clutter up the space too much to make it impossible to win. So that's our key design constraint. For respawning, we decided that there will be a platform at the end of each level, and that's where you have to land. And if you hit something along the way, we'll respawn you back at the top of that level. And then finally, for some other mechanics, we've been experimenting with some of the verse documentation, and so we're going to make some platforms spin and move so that you can have like active participation in the map. It's not just a static experience. And then we'll also have fall damage on and use a zone to turn it off for the final platform, or if that doesn't work, we'll use damage zones. So we've got some backup plans ready to go, but we're excited to do this. Yeah, so I think, Josh, is there anything else in the design that you wanted to talk about?
No, I think that covers it.
Okay, Well, then let's go over to Josh's screen where he's going to get us started creating the island, and I'm going to follow along and pull down the source control.
Awesome. So we're in our project browser here. Just in the island templates, right at the top is where you can find the Fall Guys islands. If you're not building Fall Guys, there's also all these other types of islands you can pick from. But if you want the Fall Guys, you have to do one of these 5. So we'll just do the empty XL grid, give ourselves lots of room.
Okay,
Project name. So I've also made sure that we have Unreal Revision Control turned on and the team selected as Evangelism so that Heather can hop right into this project as soon as I make it.
Awesome, awesome. Okay, we've got our grid island.
Here we are.
Solid start.
Solid start. Okay.
It exists. Okay, Josh, you called this Fall Guys stream, correct?
Yes.
All right, perfect. I see it, so I'm going to sync it down, and I'll join you in the map.
Okay, so because we only have a little bit of time on this stream, I'm going to be working quite fast, which means my goal is going to be to use some bigger props to outline this area first off before we start working on the interior.
Awesome. While you do that, I'm going to pull in the crown because we decided that we wanted the landing pad to be a crown, right?
That's right.
All right.
Perfect. We'll also be taking questions while these two are building. So if you have any questions about what they're currently doing, want clarification on any devices they're using or things like that, make sure you post them in chat and we'll grab them. I'll make sure to yell at them occasionally.
Please.
I have a question. But yeah, feel free to post them in. We're not doing a dedicated Q&A section at the end. We're just going to be taking them as they come. So whatever you feel like, toss it in chat and we'll handle it.
Yeah.
All right. That looks so cool already. I'm so excited about the Fall Guys assets because they're so different than the traditional assets that I'm used to working with since I normally build with UEFN and Fortnite assets. So
Totally.
yeah, this will be cool. Okay, while you're building this initial area, I know it's going to take us a minute to get all of the verse in. So I'm going to start doing that, but we don't have to switch over to my screen yet. We can watch Josh build for a little bit while I start making all of the verse files that we're going to need to make these props move.
Amazing.
All right. We can watch me struggle to find assets in the content browser.
What are you looking for?
Battle. I found them now. I was looking for these barriers. These.
Okay.
We do have a question here for you while you're building there, Josh.
All right.
Do either of y'all have any inspiration that you've pulled from for these maps, or are you just pulling it straight from your big ol' brains?
I played a lot of dropper games as a kid, on UGC platforms. So taking some inspiration from the style of game, which it's been around for ages and, different modding games and all over.
Yeah, and then for the look and feel, obviously this one is Fall Guys, so we're very inspired by the different Fall Guys games and choosing as many of those assets as we can. And then when we build out level 2, we'll be inspired by all of you. So. Oh, I guess I should maybe push my. Oh, I can't because I started creating code. Never mind. Ignore me. It's fine. This is fine.
I could never ignore you, Heather. You're mean.
I'm like, oh, I'll push the few assets that I added, and then that won't work because my verse is failing because I'm not done writing it. So It's just my attention is a little bit everywhere. It's fine.
I completely understand.
I think that's like always how I build is just like, oh, let's do this. Okay, wait, hold on. I didn't finish the last thing yet.
Yes, sporadic building. I completely get it. I'm there with you 100%. All right. What are we looking at, Josh? Talk us through your process a little bit here.
So I added a propeller at the bottom because that's how Fall Guys islands tend to work. They're all just floating above a void. Um, so I needed a propeller to keep it in the air, obviously. After this net area, I think I'm gonna use these. We'll switch to like a solid wall, keep it varied here. And then scale these up a little. And duplicate that. We want this to be fairly tall, so like we mentioned at the start, so the player has time to dodge things as they're falling. Maybe one more.
Yeah, when we were creating some prototypes for this earlier last week and earlier this week, that was a big challenge that we faced was we put too many obstacles right on top of each other and then you just died and you could never complete it. So trying to avoid that today.
Full hard mode.
More like impossible mode.
It's fine. This is fine, right? Let's see. We got another question from chat here for y'all.
Oh yeah, what's up?
Let's do it.
How does the design of dropper mode challenge players' reflexes and precision compared to other game modes, in your opinion?
Oh.
Well,
What?
the physics is like pretty different with the bean for one. So like getting your jump right and knowing where you're falling is just something that you have to like be really aware of. But I also think that you're trying to avoid stuff. So it's not quite as like, oh, I have to be exactly on this point to land on something. It's more, can I move quickly enough? So I think like the precision is just a different kind of thing. Like I'm not trying to time a bunch of jumps. I'm just trying to avoid as many things as possible.
Yeah, it's fairly reactive versus proactive.
Yeah.
It matters obviously where you're starting your jump, but also because we have the spinning variables, the timing ends up being a lot of like mid-air, you're deciding which direction you should go in. And then also based on how the level's laid out, unlike a death run where you're progressively going step by step and unlocking this next area, you have a second to think, okay, how am I going to take over this level? With a dropper, when you're dropping down and through, you're unlocking everything as you go, and there's no decision on your end what your pacing is going to be or if you can think about how you're going to take on this next level. So there's way more trial and error in a dropper than something like a death run. A lot of the time, anyways.
Unless you're really bad at death runs like me, and then they're both just really hard.
Right. I'm going to switch from the sphere because that was kind of restricting me in which assets I could use.
Okay. There we go. Now we're building with verse. Okay, Josh, why don't you at some point here add in something that you need to spin and I can kind of walk through verse whenever you're ready.
Let's do it.
Although I'm trying to launch session to make sure that I've fully done all of the verse steps.
All right. I know this would be a good one.
Yeah, I like that one a lot.
Right here for now.
Awesome.
Fits nicely.
Assets.
I think these walls will go well. Keeps it open.
Yeah, they're kind of like dominoes. That was my first thought. All right, and then bring in my verse device and hide it because I don't want it visible. What are you talking about? I love that you can do that though. Like you can like drag things in that are useful, but then just hide them. But then I still can have them all in like one area where I know where to go.
Right, absolutely. Let
right.
us know whenever you want us to swap over to your screen as well, Heather.
I will have Josh push first, and then I'll pull, and then we can swap over.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Idea.
Gotta save.
Save.
No,
Check
not
in.
allowed. I've got a couple questions here for you real quick in the meantime.
All right.
So first, we've got a question from Maniblo. Do you have different layouts for UEFN saved based on whether you'll do design and or mechanics, or do you have a universal layout that you don't really change when you're starting a new project?
Ooh, like with the workspace itself. I just kind of keep everything by default, except for when I'm using sequencer. I tend to make that just a separate window, and so that I can work and see my camera viewport all in a separate space, and then I can edit things while I'm in here. But everything else, I just keep default. Sometimes I get rid of the content browser if I need a bigger screen. I know a lot of people drag the content browser out to a different window. Hopefully that was what you were asking.
Yes, that is exactly it, I think. I also keep things mostly default. The reason for that, though, isn't that I prefer it to be default. It's that whenever I want to make content for all of you, I want to make sure that it's the layout that you all are familiar with and would expect. So I think, like, if I were building personally, there are definitely some things that I would change. I would have my Verse Explorer always out, and do a couple of other things to shuffle things around, but I make do. It's fine. Okay, I am ready for us to switch over to my screen just to walk through a little bit of the verse real quick while Josh continues to make this come to life. Okay, so what I've done already is I followed this wonderful tutorial over on the documentation site. Let me just scroll to the top of this section here. So this is a full animating prop movement lesson plan that you can follow. It goes through 6 separate steps where you learn how to do things like move a prop, rotate a prop, scale it, and it is all written for Fall Guys in particular, but you can actually use this for any prop that you'd like in as long as it is a prop. And so we went ahead and tested this out. I've brought all of the code down from this complete code section here that helps us do all of the different kinds of movement so that we can have like a really interactive game. So if we scroll down here, the nice thing about the learning game mechanics section here in the documentation is that if you don't want to just skip to the complete code, you could go back to each of these lessons and learn about each line of code and why it is written the way it is. But if you're in a hurry right now, like we are, and you just want something that you know works, this is a super easy way for me to come in, get all of this code, and bring it into the editor. So back in UEFN, I've put open my Verse Explorer tab, and you can see I've already created all of the verse files that we're going to need. In order to do that, I just right-click and add a new verse file, I name it, and then I launch VS Code. So over here in VS Code, you'll see that I've actually copy and pasted all of that code already. The most important file is this prop animator file. This is the one that actually becomes the verse device in the world. So this is super important. But I was able to create this while Josh was creating that initial layout, which gives us this ability to now make that prop spin. So one thing here in this animating prop verse file that I wanted to walk through real quick. Here in the move function, this is where we're actually going to set a transform on the object. And that's really what we're doing to do any sort of spinning or rotating, is that we're transforming on a specific axis. So this is really important when Josh will later introduce some elements that are maybe already rotated when they're in the world. So we might see some funky behavior, but this is really helpful to relate back to, and this is what helped me figure it out earlier when I was troubleshooting some things, is that it really is looking at any transform that's applied to that prop, and then it's trying to rotate along that transform. So that is what we're going to go ahead and do over in the editor now. So I've got this one spinny prop that Josh put in, but right now it doesn't do anything. So what do we have to do? First, we got to go to the content drawer and bring in our prop animator verse class, which I already did. It's sitting in the world. Go away, content drawer. Here it is. So I've brought in our animator, and I've gone ahead and I've unchecked that it's visible in game because I really don't want it to be there, but I do want it enabled at game start. And then here you'll see that I can do all sorts of different things. I can translate, rotate, scale, or even fully animate a prop right here. Now, these are set up so that you can actually translate or rotate many items at the same time. So I am first going to start by clicking Add Element to add another instance, or add our first instance of animating my props here. So let's see here. We've got this rotating prop, and I'm going to select the prop that I actually want to have move. Now, I could do this in a couple of ways. I could come over here to the outliner and figure out which of the many things it is. I could just scroll here and select which of the many things it is, but the thing that I find easiest is just using the dropper tool to pick the actor, and then just making sure, okay, that says propeller platform base. That seems right. Let's do that. Now, the other thing that I want to know is what axis should I rotate it on? Each of these represents the X, Y, and Z axes, but I don't actually know which axis this should be rotated on. So I'm going to go ahead and find it here now that I know what it's called. So I've got that propeller platform base. And up here on the rotation, I can actually just mess with each of these values. All right, so that's not the way that we are expecting something to spin, so let's change that back to 0. That also flips it in the wrong direction, but it looks like the Z-axis is the one that makes it spin like a propeller. Perfect. So I'll set that back to 0, because I don't actually want to change it here. I want to change it on the device. So let's go back to the animation device, animator. And now on the Z-axis, I'm going to change this to something like 90 so that it'll spin 90 degrees. And then I'm going to actually speed up this move duration so that it goes a little bit faster. So now it'll take 1.5 seconds to spin 90 degrees on the Z-axis. Now I could do this another way as well if I really wanted to. I could copy this prop, set it to be the secondary rotation, and then have it say match rotation target, and set it to that secondary prop, and then hide that secondary prop in the world. That's a lot of extra steps when I could just rotate it on the Z-axis, so I'm not going to do that. And that's it. That should be all that it takes for us to make that rotate and spin. So all that it takes, it took like 7 verse files and a couple configs, but we made it. So I'm going to go ahead and save that, and then I'm going to push it, and we'll see back in Fortnite, once it pushes all those changes, we should be able to see it spin. So let me do all of that, and then we'll start the game over there. While we're waiting, are there other questions, Tina?
There sure are. Let's see here. I think this, we may see a couple of these ourselves depending on how things shake out, but what are some of the funniest bugs that you've experienced while testing dropper mode? I know especially since y'all have been testing things out the past couple days, I'm curious if there's anything that sticks out.
Well, I kind of went into this with the, idea that we just apply fall damage to the little beans as they drop, because it would make this whole thing very easy. We'd give them 1 health, and then we'd send them down, and like literally any fall damage would be enough to kill them or eliminate them with 1 health. And I thought that I had that working, and maybe I'm insane and I was doing something else to eliminate the bean. Because today when I went on and like was practicing this, testing out things, they weren't taking fall damage at all. They were just bouncing hilariously, but also frustratingly. So no matter how far I sent them down, they just like bounced right back up. And so I don't know if that's something we just accidentally changed in today's patch, or if it's always been that way and I just didn't realize. So that's kind of had to make us change our strategy here a little bit. We're going to have to use a damage volume over everything. And so for the moving props, you'll see later, but I'm going to parent it to the spinning props so that they follow along properly. And so it just means a little more work and being intentional with how we're laying these things out, and the hitboxes won't be as perfect as they should be. But yeah, so I mean that's the most recent bug that comes to mind.
Yeah, for me, actually, this is so embarrassing, but I discovered that I changed my settings in UEFN so that when I launch session, it wouldn't automatically start the game mode. And this is really important because in order to test if a verse device is working, you need to start the game. But I kept launching live edit and not seeing my verse work. Because I never actually started the game. This took me about an hour of troubleshooting to figure out. Once I figured that out, we're all good now. It's fine. We can actually start the game and see if things rotate and move. But yeah, that was really frustrating and hard.
But you figured it out.
We figured it out.
That's what matters.
In fact, we figured it out so well that even though I can't really look up any better than this right now, you can see that wonderful spinner is spinning above my head. And I know that Josh has already moved the spawn pad, so I'm going to push this code and then we'll switch back over to his screen. And as he continues to place things that need animated, I'm going to continue to work on that.
How did you know I moved the spawn pads?
I saw you do it while I was waiting for my verse to cook.
Oh, okay.
All right, let me push this for you, Josh. So just to show everyone how we do that, I already saved, so I'm just gonna click check-in changes. And then one of my favorite things about URC is that you can actually now see what you put in the change list description. So I'm gonna try to be pretty precise here. Added verse to make props move, spin, and transform. And then I'll just submit that. And now on Josh's side, once that's all checked in, he should be able to pull that back down and keep all of his changes. So let's go back over to his screen and see what he's done while we did all of that.
Cool. Won't pull these yet. Yeah, so I moved the spawn pads up here. I added some flags, and I added these little drum things. I thought it might be nice to let the player like get more central if they want, as they're dodging all the obstacles we put in here. And then I added this other spinny obstacle. I thought we could rotate it going like this. And then I know Heather mentioned before the stream, it'd also be cool if we had something going across horizontally, so we could possibly use this to, let's see, basically go like this, right over the finish line.
Awesome. Okay.
And then while I'm up here, I'll also do a little more mechanics work, which is really just... Oh, let me pull first. And then I'll get the damage volume set up on the spinner.
Awesome. There's a quick question, if you don't mind me tossing it y'all's way. Just based off of the bug that you had actually mentioned, Josh, where the beans were bouncing around and not taking the damage that they were supposed to.
Yeah.
There's a question here of, is there any way to tag the objects and detect when players are within a certain distance from them and apply damage, or how is the best way to go about that in UEFN?
I don't know what the best way to go about it is. Like, we decided damage volumes because we know them. They're a Fortnite creative device that made it really easy for us to lean on that prior experience. But Josh, do you know of anything else?
I have a feeling Scene Graph would achieve what you're asking, where you could use the prop and get a read of whether players touched it or interacted with it or collided with it, and then eliminate them or teleport them or whatever. We're going to be using the damage volume like Heather said, but you could also use, in the same way, a mutator zone, which reads whether player has entered or exited. And so if they entered this, then you could teleport them or eliminate them. But also in other use cases, like if you want to know whether a player has gotten close to something, this is a great way to do it.
Yeah, and the original plan was to actually use the mutator zone at the bottom to turn back off fall damage. Of course, that's not exactly how we ended up building it today, but it's got lots of uses.
Very nice. Someone said the answer is always verse.
Exactly.
We tried to limit the verse today to just the moving props that you can follow along on the docs page, because we felt like that's something that we wanted to highlight.
Definitely.
Josh, when you're done placing those 4 and parenting them, would you mind pushing?
Sure.
Thanks.
All right, so I'm going to select these, go to my outliner, attach to, use the dropper there. So now you'll notice as well when I move the dropper, those damage volumes stay with it, and it'll be the same for when this thing spins.
Yay! I love parenting things. I was so excited when I learned how easy that was to do animations and things, because cool story, but that's actually also how you animate robots. So super fascinating.
Cool.
Very basic, quick story, but yeah, it's the same technique.
I'll take it. There are 2-sentence stories, so.
I'm going to turn this into a cylinder because that fits nicely.
That was cool. I didn't even know you could change it to a cylinder.
Yeah, you can change the zone shape here.
I always just use square.
Box and cylinder.
Good to know.
And we'll make sure it's on elimination.
Are you going to make it all the way across the little bar, or are you going to put other ones on the little bar?
I'll put a smaller version on those.
Okay, cool. Then I get to figure out and make sure that when we move the bar, it actually moves the whole thing.
Yeah.
So we didn't test that earlier.
If we parent it together,
it should work.
They'll move together. It just depends in what direction.
Upside down, left to right.
Right.
Spinning at an angle. It'll all work out.
I believe.
Okay, so question, Josh.
Yep.
If that were me, I would have just made that one super long, but it looks like you added 2.
Yeah, you're right. No, I'll do that. That's better. That is better.
Oh, so why is it better though? Because that was just my instinct of I want to save devices. I just want it to be one. But
just less things that have to move, less devices, memory-wise. Yeah, it's totally better. And let me hide those. What is this? Swinging log base. Okay.
Whoa, okay, wait. What was that? Hide, unhide. That was so fast.
That was just, I clicked H to hide, and then Alt H to not hide,
Nice.
or Control H.
Very nice. Love me a good hotkey.
Same.
Yeah. Okay.
I know. I think I used to have like a mug or something with Unreal Engine hotkeys, but like we really need that for UEFN.
Yes, yes. I have a mouse pad that has a bunch of UE hotkeys, and I feel
That's
like that
amazing.
too. Because you have it right there, right? It's right there by the
Like
keyboard.
I just looked down.
Exactly.
Oh man, I gotta do that.
Yeah.
Oh, that looks good, Josh.
All right.
Okay.
Push those.
Lots of things to save. Wait, don't forget to actually. Wait, is it all saved? It does say all saved. Okay.
It auto saves when you go to check in.
Oh, one other thing, Josh, since I know you want me to animate that really cool moving log, can you make a note for me?
Totally. Okay, so notes, something relatively new we added. It's a revision control feature. So I right clicked, I'm gonna add an anchored note, which just places it where I clicked. And when I create that note, Heather's gonna see that on her end. It's great for when you're working with a team and you wanna have some sort of way to communicate inside the level. Helps create like a task-based system.
Well, and the other really nice thing is that it was instant, so I don't have to wait for a push or anything. Like I already see it. So this can be really helpful. I know one of my favorite things about making islands in Fortnite Creative was that I could just see what Josh was doing instantly, and I didn't have to like be on a screen share or anything. But Notes is kind of starting to bridge that gap so that I can understand the context of what's happening in real time.
Totally. And this is the notes panel. So when you have a lot of these built up, it's nice to go in here and you can actually see a little image of where the note is and an overview of what the notes are. Okay. Oh, there was another thing I wanted to do. Wanted to have some fans. Some of the Fall Guys fans. Let's see. These ones.
Okay.
I wanted to throw these around to blow the players in different directions as they fall. But that could be fun and annoying.
I love that. Love the thought process being what is fun and also annoying for my player.
I'll find an air vent device. I'm gonna go attach this on top of it. And then in the details, turn off the visibility. Range will do. It doesn't go lower than 3, so try 3. We'll move accordingly. And then it's over here. Do another one. There.
They're hidden in game. That looks like it's on the same plane. Alright, that should be good.
I have a quick question for y'all, if you don't
Yeah.
mind. So, I assume this might actually be from someone over on the UE side, which is fun, but they're wondering what's the collaboration tool that y'all are using when working together in UEFN?
Great question. So we're using Unreal Revision Control. It is the built-in revision control system that comes with UEFN. It is eventually going to be a part of UE as well. It's a part of the plan, but really we're building it all in UEFN right now. So yeah, it's really useful as you've seen. I don't have to pull up a separate program. I I can just click in the bottom right to pull changes, and it's very, very quick. And then, of course, you have that note system we showed off. There's also snapshot history built in here, so we can see the changes I've pushed, the changes Heather's pushed, which assets. We can see what's checked out right now in the outliner. So this one's checked out by Heather. It's really, really convenient. If you don't want to use it, though, we also integrate with Perforce. So you go to change revision control settings, switch to Perforce, and hook up your Perforce server.
Yeah, we've definitely switched back and forth. Most of our projects we use Unreal Revision Control, but sometimes I like the racetrack template that we worked on earlier this year. We used Perforce for that because we were collaborating with a different group of people that had Perforce. So it's nice that we can have that flexibility.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm actually going to make this a cylinder and make this easy for me.
All right, Josh, I'm trying my best to have animated this moving spinning bar, so hopefully.
We just saw that Heather has the crown checked out, so I can't move it.
Sorry, man.
That's all right.
I made it bigger.
When it's not when it's not checked out, yeah, we just need to make sure that it is above this damage volume I put down at the bottom level. So.
Okay, it's like, do I need to move the floor up as well?
No, just the crown. The floor is basically the damage volume.
Okay. I can move it up a little bit too then. While I'm here touching things.
Ooh, we're gonna need damage volumes above these fans as well.
Oh, true. I wouldn't have thought of that one.
I know, and then the, speedrunners are gonna find all these ways around, and that's what you really have to think about when you're making games, is how not to let the speedrunners abuse your game design.
Or how to let them. I think some really cool games have been designed that are specifically made for speedrunning. So,
Just leave a couple little Easter eggs for anyone who goes out of their way to find them. Like that too.
Yeah, exactly.
Never.
I don't know. Then you have the other type of player, such as me, where I'm not a speedrunner, but I am also afraid of dying. So I'm just gonna sit on the fan and stay there forever.
Right. Think about your actions.
Yes. Awesome. Let's see. There's a couple other questions from a little bit further back. We might actually cover this as well soon, but how would you make the beans bounce around when they hit any objects?
They honestly, okay. So like I mentioned earlier, when they drop any bit, like some amount, they get a little bounce to them. But if you're a Fall Guys player, there's also mechanics in there where, if they hit one of the swinging hammers, they bounce and go flying. And so how we achieve that is by setting up bouncer. And in the same way, this thing here, and in the same way that we're attaching the damage volumes to the things that we want to damage the players, if you wanted them to bounce after hitting something, then you would just grab this, you'd attach it, make it invisible, and then it would follow along that thing and bounce the player, and you can decide how far it bounces. Pretty similar to the air vent also.
Yeah. Maybe we can do that in the second level that I think we're almost ready to start building.
Yeah, I was just going to see if maybe there's one more thing we could throw in at this top level.
I'm really trying to make my thing spin and move, and then I think we're in good shape.
Sweet.
Maybe we can actually try it and be bad.
Maybe we'll use this hammer up.
All right. Yeah, actually, Tina, I feel like this is a good opportunity while we're wrapping this one up to maybe run that first poll.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's do it.
Sweet.
All right. Speaking of polls, so just for you all watching, we're gonna put up a poll here in just a second where you get to pick which type of assets they are gonna use for their next level. So choices are gonna be between fantasy and space. Choose at your discretion. This is a choose your own adventure, chat. I trust you. All right. Let's get those going. In the meantime, while I'm getting them set up, as I am only human, feel free to also post your answers and I'll make sure that we grab those and tally them in as well. All right, we've got the poll going over on the FN Create side. We'll get this going over here on the YouTube side in just a moment. The Unreal Engine side, excuse me.
I'm tweaking how fast my thing moved because it was just speeding along there for a second. Let's go really fast.
Gotta go fast.
Yeah. Let's make sure.
Make sure this base is covered. So, all right, and then Heather, if you'd like, you could also make this hammer
move.
Spin. Yeah.
Okay.
I'll check it in a sec.
All right. Yeah, I think I just need this to go to start game for me to test what I just pushed. Well, I haven't pushed it to you yet, but I pushed it to the server. I think this is pretty cool looking so far, Josh.
Me too.
It's very Fall Guys-y, but fun.
It does. It feels very thematic with original Fall Guys for sure.
Yeah. Well, what are you doing now?
I don't actually know. That's why I didn't narrate it. The water zone was creating this weird like black box here. UEFN's Great Mysteries. So I just moved it down and it seems to be okay now.
Okay, great.
And I'm gonna check these in.
Now, how do you want that hammer to spin? Do you just want it to like
Yeah.
Where's it
that.
hard? This way. Okay,
Yep.
great. Sounds good.
Which one should I vote on in the poll?
I don't know which one. Which one?
Which
do
one
you
are
want?
you
Everyone's
more
easiest
excited
for
about?
me.
All right. Okay. Did that do the thing? Where it
Can you
pushed
even
the
do
changes?
that, or is that skewing the results? I don't know.
No, there were enough votes where it's pretty insignificant, honestly.
Amazing. Okay. I think I'm happy with how that looks.
All right.
So...
Maybe we should switch to your screen.
Yeah. Let's do that. Okay. And then I can kind of say what I did. as soon as it lets me. Okay, so in order to animate this prop, because we wanted it to move side to side, I also added in 2 buttons that represent where the prop is moving to, and they're both hidden in the game. So that's just like what we showed earlier, where you can hide something, but you can actually just make sure that this is hidden during gameplay. So that works, and now it should spin. If I come back over here to Animator, you'll see I put this target as the first target, this one as the second, and then I also added a little bit of rotation on the y-axis. So if I come over here, you can see, if we look very carefully without jumping over the edge, that it is spinning. It's a little,
that's nice. I like it.
yeah, and for some reason that button is still showing. So I'm gonna go make sure that that's hidden. But I've done the job. So back in UEFN, I'm gonna go to notes and I'm gonna resolve this note if I can figure out where it is. Is that... Gosh, how do I click on this note when there's a damage volume in the way?
You could hide the damage volume. Click H.
That's true. I could do that, Tick. Okay, so the cool thing is that I can now go ahead and just resolve this because I've done it. And then when I check in my changes, obviously he already got the resolution, but I can also say like resolved note to rotate the prop. Obviously I still have some cleanup to do over here, which is fine. But I wanted to do that so that I could also sync that new thing that Josh just pushed, and that automatically happened. Okay, so let's hide this button first. During the game. It is hidden in game. I don't know why it showed up. That's weird. So is that one. Okay. Well, maybe I just didn't fix it earlier. That's fine. Cool. So now we can go up here and we have one more prop to rotate, which is this hammer. So FG hammer BP. We'll go back to our animator. Actually, hold on. I'm wrong. I want to know how I'm going to rotate this. I'm not going to rotate it that way. Or that way. Those are all location. That's totally my bad. That's why we test. Okay.
Exactly.
So this is actually, Josh, you happen to pick 3 props that are rotating on all 3 axes. We have one on X, one on Y, and one on Z. So
totally
we'll do
intentional.
This one on X. Just proving that our animation works. All right, so this one is a new rotation. We are just gonna look for the hammer here. And then we'll do 90. We'll let that keep spinning pretty fast. Ease in, ease out. That feels good to me. I'm gonna just check on these other... I wonder if this will look better if I do these as linear. We'll find out. Okay, I'm gonna end the game. I'm gonna save everything. Josh just pushed some more stuff, so I'm gonna pull that in.
I just changed some island settings.
Map check generated errors. We'll look at that in a second. It's fine.
That's a later problem.
It's this water zone.
I think I was seeing something earlier with like spatially loaded props that I couldn't quite figure out, so we'll figure that out in a second. Okie dokie. And now we'll wait for live edit to launch, and we'll make sure that all of those props are spinning and moving as expected. It didn't push the changes, guys. I love it when that happens. It's totally my fault. All right, back to you, Ethan.
Next time.
Yeah,
You got this
fine.
next time.
I think that that's always hard when you're pushing both first changes and normal changes, is that you have to push first changes and then push changes, and I often forget that. I'm like, I pushed one of them. It should be enough, right?
I did hit a button.
Okay. We'll stay here, make sure that there's no other yellow. Okay. I mean, that is nice that, like, the editor does warn you it's a yellow button, but doesn't mean I always see it. Okay. Also, for those of you wondering, yes, I did fix it so that whenever I launch Live Edit, it automatically launches the game, because I learned my lesson.
We're collectively proud of you.
Thank you. How is the poll going? Have we decided? Have we picked?
The poll is going well. It looks like pretty much across the board between all three chats, fantasy is currently winning out.
Okay.
Barely in some cases, but it is winning.
Well, that's cool, because I'm excited about the fantasy assets that we're going to pull in.
Yeah.
I mean, either one would have been great. We picked both for a reason.
Sure, I understand. But, I don't know. Selfishly, as a fan of fantasy, I am quite excited to see what y'all might make for this.
Yes. All right. Josh, are you about done?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
I
We're good.
really want this to launch and play, and then we'll be good to go. Okay. Yay! Look, everything is spinning. It's all moving. It's so slow. We can speed that up later.
But it's moving.
But it is moving. And then if I fall... That was amazing.
Okay, we should add a damage zone on the other side.
Yes, and also that wind was intense.
Yeah.
I did not know that's what was happening. Where is that fan? Like, I don't even think I see it.
That was whiplash. Mostly because everything else is moving so slowly that when the wind hit...
You did it!
I did make it, but then it killed me anyway. It's fine.
Well, but you got to the crown.
Oh, there is the fan. Okay, I see it now. It was just like so insane. I missed it that time, but it looks like it works, Josh. I think we did good.
Works close enough.
Shall we make the fantasy version?
Yep. Let's do it.
All right. I will stop playing.
All right, we can go to my screen now.
All right. I will save and push these changes for you just so that you have those final moving things. Actually, I'm going to speed it up before I do that. I was very excited that it worked, but it needs to go faster. Did you just add in those damage volumes so that when somebody flies, they die faster?
Yes. Yes, exactly.
They get eliminated faster, I'm sorry. Thank you.
All right.
Making it fun.
I'll sync those changes.
Yay! All right. It looks like a pretty fun little dropper level, and that only took us an hour.
Yeah. Where did our water zone? Okay, so for the fantasy level, we were thinking of opening up Fab and using the Infinity Blade hack. There it is.
Classic.
Fab,
Classic and beautiful.
we actually just
Yes.
made some announcements around Fab. The fab right now is in its alpha stage. It is built into UEFN, and it's an art marketplace. So you can go and you can buy asset packs. There's also a ton of free stuff on there. This one we're going to be using is free, which means it's really as simple as me clicking Add to Content Browser. And you'll see in the bottom right, it says it's downloading the referenced content. So we'll give it a minute there.
I do love how convenient that is.
Yes.
It is very convenient. And it's even more convenient if you're not using a pack. If there's just like a individual asset, I saw one of these, you can just drag and drop it right into the viewport and it will just load there.
Ugh,
So
insane.
simple.
All right. So under our Fall Guys stream content, we now have this reference content folder. This is where all your fab stuff ends up going. So I'll click into our Infinity Blade Grasslands, and here you'll see all of our great assets. So I'm going to start us off with a lot of rocks.
A lot of rocks.
A lot of rocks.
Is that going to be our
We need
landing
base.
platform? Yeah.
Yeah, we need.
We kind of got rid of all of
some
the
kind of base.
grid, so you need somewhere to land.
Mm-hmm.
And the cool thing, since we're still building a Fall Guys island, is that we'll still use the bean to like drop through this, so it'll be kind of fun to juxtapose the cute little bean and the fantasy realm.
Yeah, for sure. One of my favorite parts of UEFN, honestly, is getting style clashing. When it's done
Yeah.
purposefully, it's actually really, really fun.
Absolutely.
Okay. So in addition to using the fab assets, we are still going to use some Fortnite assets as well, because there are a couple of different Fortnite worlds or lands that we can pull from. So as we continue to build, you'll see us kind of going back and forth from that reference content folder back to the Fortnite folder to pull in different assets that we might need.
Yep. I'm make this a little bigger. Mash things together.
Yeah, and then as we continue to build out this section too, the super awesome thing about that verse code that we all wrote earlier is that we can reuse it on props over here. So even though they're not Fall Guys props, as we mentioned earlier, if there's something that Josh wants me to make spin or move, we can still do that. And I don't have to write any more code. I just have to add it to the dropdown.
Easy peasy.
Yeah, that's the kind of code I like. Very reusable and super readable as well.
All right, this is a cool base here, floating island.
Definitely.
Let's
I do dig
use-
that.
Let's use this thing.
Are you gonna make that the big, like the quote unquote crown of the area? Or are you gonna make
No,
it the
we're
big
gonna-
tunnel?
Yeah, we'll make this somewhat of a tunnel.
Cool. So not every dropper game that I've played has like a tunnel to keep you in, but I really like it for this kind of build because it gives us a structure within which we know we want to put all of the obstacles. But I've definitely played dropper games where you like just fall through what feels like an infinite landscape. So you can have a lot of fun with making this kind of game.
Yeah, definitely. Have you noticed any particular pros or cons between having like a solid structure for a player to fall through versus the kind of wide open experience you were just talking about?
I mean, I think like the nice thing about making the solid structure is that our scope is very simple. We just have to worry about obstacles within that scope. When you open it up and you have people be able to fly through more area, like there's just more stuff that you have to think about. The other nice thing that I like about this is that it kind of feels like could be a real world thing. Because the props aren't just floating in the middle of the air most of the time. And even the ones that are in the Fall Guys world, they have like bounce, like they're floating. But when you're building like this more fantasy realism, I think later we'll try and see if we can add some trees in. It doesn't totally make sense to just have a tree growing in the middle of the sky, even though that might be a really cool obstacle. So by having this tunnel that we're building around, we kind of give some intelligence to it. I've definitely played dropper games though where they're like, here, just every asset that was in the game, fly through those.
Right.
So it's just about like, how intelligent do you want to be with the design? Do you want to be telling a story? Do you want it to make somewhat real world sense? I mean, most game and level design doesn't make real world sense, but yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you for that.
Mm-hmm. I've been thinking about it a lot as Josh was like, Heather, we should build a dropper. And I was like, what is that? Oh, I've played that a lot. But not in Fortnite, actually. I don't think I've played a Fortnite dropper, so I was pretty excited that Josh and I could make a Fall Guys one today.
Yeah.
Mostly Josh, though. I'm just watching him build right now.
I've played...
You haven't pushed it a long time, and there's nothing for me to animate, so...
I've played a handful of Fortnite ones. They're always fun.
Did you make one of those, like, bigger?
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Okay. I want to get more buildings in here. See what we can find.
Let's see. What are other environments that we might pull from that aren't just the Fab Gallery?
I don't know if there's any environments per se, but like nature galleries, I mean, what I'll end up doing is just looking up like tree or bush or something in the content browser and then scanning for something that might work. We don't want it to be too stylized, so it'll probably end up being something from more recent Fortnite that has like nanite and looks a little more realistic.
Yeah, we don't want to just like bring in a full prefab of a castle or something. That would be a lot.
Yes, for sure. There is a question here from y'all. Just while you're building there, Josh, what pack or assets would you have used if you had gone with space instead of fantasy?
I would use just because it's free and in the content browser already. I was planning on using things from all over, but I really like the IO Blimp gallery. When you pair that with some post-processing, some bloom and some rain, and then you get some cool lighting in there and fog and stuff, it ends up looking very, very cool. I built a whole capture the flag with it when UEFN first came out, which looks awesome.
Yeah, it kind of feels like you're in a spaceship, but you're in an IO Blimp.
But there's a ton of great Fortnite galleries for sci-fi.
Yeah, and we also considered using some of the assets from, I think it's called Talisman, which is also in Fab. But in order to use those assets, we were going to need a little bit more time because you have to bring them in and then you have to put the mesh on them and put all the textures in. And we just wanted to be able to build a little bit more quickly. So we would probably also do that if we weren't trying to build it on a live stream. So use some of those assets.
Mm-hmm.
Very fair. Question for y'all real quick here. Should you be, not should you, but in general, I think it's just phrased as like a general advice sort of question. Should you be setting default folders in your hierarchy to help your level kind of stay organized as you go through?
Totally. If I wasn't speed building this, it would be really great of me to like group things up so that I can easily grab things. Each of these, devices in themselves that we made would be great to just have as a group so that we could copy and paste, especially if we're making a full game with different dropper levels. It'd be really great to have hierarchies and groups. Absolutely.
Yeah, and normally I like to create like a level 1 folder and make sure that everything for like level 1 is within that folder, and then that there's additional sub hierarchy beneath that. But yeah, today we're building fast, so not with the best practice in mind, but that's okay.
Rapid prototyping, one might call it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Testing it out, seeing how it might be if a Fall Guys bean participated in a dropper.
Okay. Now we need to start thinking about obstacles to dodge. I did like the tree idea, so
Yeah. Trees.
find trees. These canopy ones would be cool.
Yeah, there's a big area that you kind of have to miss there.
Mm-hmm.
What about how are we gonna handle spawning for this level? Are you just gonna move the spawn pads over since this is just like rapid prototype?
I think we could add a teleporter. And then have a checkpoint or something. So if this was a full game, I think it'd be we have a teleporter here. So after you land in the ground, then you move on to the level 2, and then we teleport you here, have a checkpoint, or switch your spawn pad to the ones that are up here. In this instance, we could just set up teleporters and make it so we can manually run here.
Very cool.
In fact, if I check these in, maybe you could start on that, Heather.
Yeah. I'm like, I'm not doing anything right now. I can help with that. I can't see anything that you've built yet. There we go. I do love how quickly
It's
I can
ridiculously
get
quick.
URC files. Like, I saw you push and then it glowed yellow for me.
So, like, I just added like over 100 assets there.
So the other thing that we're seeing right now, Josh, is we are seeing a few map check errors. So I'm gonna kind of figure out what's going on there.
The water zone.
I'll see when it actually finishes loading on my side. It might be just the water zone. I don't know what's been up with the water zone lately. We struggled with that on our racetrack map as well. We had sometimes like the water just wouldn't show up. Yeah.
Landscape's hard.
Yeah.
Here,
Oh,
I
we
would
also
have just been like, it
have-
evaporated. But yeah.
Right. Global warming.
yeah.
It's fine.
Water's disappearing.
Josh, we're seeing just a lot of spatially loaded, non-spatially loaded actors having warnings. I'm not sure why. I'll ask the first team what's up with that and how I fix it.
Yeah, I have no idea.
Is it something to do with like how versus bringing them in? Yeah,
Just
I
got
don't
a
know.
question in chat here from y'all. Is there for y'all? From you, yes. Is there a way to select a bunch of assets or tools all together in the editor, like a volume selector of some kind?
Yeah. It is Control Alt and drag. I'll do that again. Control Alt. You hold those down and then you drag this box. And then you can also go on the outliner, click from one point, and shift click to another. And you grab those. You can also get top-down view, theoretically, or a left or right view, and you can just drag in this view and then select everything like that. Also, this level looks so cool from this perspective.
It really does.
So then I could, like, if I wanted to move this farther away from our Fall Guys one, I just go like that. And all the assets will move.
Very nice.
Okay, I desperately need more obstacles in here, especially because it's massive.
Can you pull in assets from some other places, like the Dragon's Head or other things?
Yeah, I am. Got a dragon head here. Maybe
I'm
I'll
making my
make it
checkpoint
bigger.
really, really big. Not visible in game, please. All right, and then I need some teleporters. That's what you wanted me to do? Make 2 teleporters, a checkpoint, and a reset the player spawn pad?
Yeah.
All right. Good news is
You don't have to reset the player spawn pad if you have a checkpoint. That should be enough for our use case.
Oh, okay. So is it just a checkpoint, or do I have to have the checkpoint and a player spawn pad up there?
Just a checkpoint.
Oh.
It acts as like a temporary spawn point.
Didn't know that.
So
Today I learned.
it's what's mostly used like when you're doing a death run in between levels, so that they don't have to have a million spawn pads.
Yeah, I just didn't realize that it like replaced those entirely. That's so cool. Well, then I'm not gonna make it giant, because it doesn't need to be giant. It just needs to exist once.
If you guys have any ideas in the chat of other obstacles, that would be good. I'm running out of ideas here.
Yeah, help us out here, chat. What can we do to make this hard?
Are we seeing anything good?
We'll give them a few seconds. Ignite the brains.
And then for the teleporter at the end of the Fall Guys level, you just want that within the crown.
Yeah, but we could also do an up at the spawn pad, so we can easily skip that level just while we're testing here.
That sounds good. I can do both.
Oh, a couple interesting things coming in here. Could do something like a collapsed terrain. I don't know if there's like a broken pillar asset or something you could pull.
That's a good idea.
I love that.
They're saying if there's any fire VFX, have the dragon breathe fire.
Now we're getting crazy. Let's do like a column broken. Boom.
Gosh, I'm gonna delete 3 of your spawn pads over here just so that I can make sure the teleporter is close to one side and we don't have to like jump over things.
All right.
Only for testing.
Oh, that is a really interesting suggestion. I don't think we have time for it right now, but someone did suggest like a gravity ground where if you jump, the gravity pulls you and turns you upside down or against a wall or something.
Oh, that sounds cool.
That would be very
Big
cool.
concept, yeah.
Maybe next time. That sounds awesome.
Yeah, that's cool.
That's awesome. It's anti-fan.
Yeah. Let me look in the devices.
Let's
See if
see.
there's any other traps we can think of here.
Oh, there is a classic suggestion here of spike traps of some kind.
There we go.
That's
We're-
amazing.
That's,
Yes.
you know,
We needed classic
exactly what I was going
suggestions.
for.
Okay, and then I don't want to keep
Throw a fire trap.
momentum. Okay, launch session. Save. with any luck, I think I did it.
The sacred egg, yes, exactly.
That's amazing.
What type of level are they making? Currently, they're building dropper levels. Right now, we did a poll earlier where everybody got to choose between fantasy and space. We ended up with fantasy, just barely, just a little bit over, but it did win out. So that's what they're building currently.
My UEFN session disconnected from my live edit session for some reason.
Oh, sad.
To relaunch
Alright.
everything.
And then we need a little zone down here.
A like winning zone.
Yes, the winning zone.
Yay! I'm so excited.
Good.
Oh, I love those.
Make sure they can't drop directly onto it. That might be good. Have a light so that we know it's important, obviously.
Oh, we're to lighting now? This is getting exciting. This is where it really becomes a cool looking level.
Yeah, this is when it transforms for sure.
For sure. Okay. Before we actually get into lighting, though, I'm going to get our damage volume set up. And then we can get to the very fun part.
So I am curious how you're going to go about it for something like these trees. Are you going to make it a little bit larger than the area, a little bit smaller? How is your thought process right now?
I think I'll probably go with this. Maybe I'll. So the issue is these corners.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want players getting hit there. I'll just go smaller and then I'll just do a second one.
Fair enough.
And is it fine to have volumes like this overlapping with one another?
Yes, no problem there.
We do that a lot.
All right. This isn't greatest. I'll do one more.
I'm adding the damage volumes on the outside.
Nice. All right.
Gotta communicate. All right, there we go.
I forgot to set these to illuminate, which I should do right now.
Which things are not set to illuminate?
These damage volumes.
The new ones you're placing?
Yeah, by default, they're set to damage over time. We need to set them to eliminate.
I see.
Multi-select, and
I copied from your other ones, so I'm assuming that they are correct, but I will check. Yep, they are.
sweet. And then come over these ones.
Change this one.
All right, and then just the dragon left.
I just had a question pop in here of would it be possible to use teleports when players get to the end of the first one if you wanted to seamlessly have one level lead into another?
That's exactly what we did. You will see it shortly.
Yeah, Heather set those up for us off screen while I was building. But yeah, that's the ideal flow. We also set up a skip just so while we're testing, we don't have to complete the first level every time we want to test this one. That would suck, but
It would definitely be challenging. In just a second, I will push these.
Awesome. I know both of y'all are focusing, but I'm going to make your lives a little bit harder and throw another question at you here.
please.
Yes.
They're wondering if it would be possible to also add something like a day or night cycle to a level like this if they wanted to.
Yeah. Absolutely. So I have the world settings pulled up here, but if you're opening UEFN for the first time, that won't be there. So how you open that up, go to Windows, and then you go to world settings here, and then it pops up. And then you can find the time of day right here. So here you can pick from two options, the day-night cycle of chapter 4. And okay, we're on chapter 5 right now. I'll switch to day chapter 4. It's just a little different. The time of day preview is up here. And then I'll go to chapter 5 again. So that's just the preview. That doesn't actually affect what the players will see. That's the first step. The next step is you can go find the day sequence device, drag that in, and here you can dig into the time of day and lighting settings a little more, actually a lot more. So we have the day and night cycle on default right now, which means there is a cycle. So you won't see it in UEFN, but if I had Fortnite up, you'd see the time of day going through. You can also set it to a fixed time. You can set it to start at a specific time, a random fixed time, a random start time. So lots of options there. You can even set it so that there's a volume, which is actually what we're going to want to do for this level. I'm going to extend this out, and that out, and extend it up. All right, so now our medieval fantasy level has its own time of day settings, lighting settings, so on, so forth. So what I am going to do, now that I have those volumes set up, is get some fog in here. I love fog.
Great. And then once you're done with the fog, I just tested, and at least the top teleporter works. The bottom teleporters look the same way, so it should be good to go.
Sweet.
And I added in those damage volumes around the area so that if you go outside of the zone, you're eliminated. Okay, so how are you picking fog? I mean, this is a very artistic choice, but
Yeah, I just pick what looks nice to me.
What feels right.
Typically, like medieval settings in media and film and everything tend to be very like muddy and dirty looking. And so I've just gone with a brownish yellow fog right now, which makes the air look dirty. I turn off the blend radius here to none, and you'll actually see as soon as we leave, it gets rid of it.
Nice. I think that's so interesting that we associate like fog and dirtiness with like medieval when that's not what I actually associate it with in real life. Cool.
Yeah. And also, like, this is a tangent, but things were pretty colorful back then. Lots of use of dyes and stuff in clothes and paintings and sculptures. But we always depict it as, like, very desaturated.
Yeah, interesting.
Josh, here
We're
to
part
make
of
them
the
more
problem.
saturated. Right, yeah.
It's like how like
perpetuating it.
warmer environments are always depicted as like
I added one of
yellow,
those, Josh.
like
You
warm
should pull.
color tone. All right. Oh, there's one at the bottom?
Yeah, I added one of those. I don't know if it's at the right spot, but
As long as it's under...
well, that's the thing, is that I don't know where that is because I don't have it
true.
yet. But it should be there.
There's a question for you specifically right now, Josh. Someone noticed that you're on medium scalability, and they're wondering if that means Lumen is disabled, because they personally seem to have issues lighting maps when trying to cover both medium and high settings.
Yeah. Let's take a look.
Switches it to high. Goodbye, stream quality.
So we're on Epic now. Yeah, I'm not actually seeing much of a performance difference on this. I think I put it on medium when I'm on my laptop because it lags a lot less. But yeah, but what you're getting at, there are ways to disable like certain lighting and stuff. I also, if you're like really having trouble to run, you can just completely go unlit. And this makes it run way, way better, look a lot worse because now there's just no lighting at all. But that's another one I use when I'm on a laptop.
Yeah, or just a lower system. Josh, if we were trying to make this like super optimized for Switch, is there anything you would be doing differently about the lighting?
No, I mean, like we scale stuff based on what was just there, those settings, and so the Switch would, if I was on the low settings there, I actually can't even remember how to get back to those settings. Someone in chat wants to help me out.
SOS chat, phoning friend.
SOS. They just say they went away from my screen. I think it's in
That's
editor
okay.
preference.
But there is a preference that you can select to test out and see what it would look like.
Right, like it's just gonna look like probably the low setting.
Yeah. Oh, I'm also seeing here
Cog top right, apparently.
Oh, cog top right. Thank you. That they're actually not having any issues running, but they are having a challenge with making sure that when Lumen is on versus when Lumen is off, that it is the same. And that's just a challenge of using Lumen, I think.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
never going to look the exact same.
Well, yeah, exactly. Lumen will change. So now I'm on low settings here. Lumen will change how your game looks completely. It's using real-time light rendering, but also that's also up to the player a lot of the times on whether they want to have their Lumen setting enabled. And so that's important to remember. I think a lot of people forget is that like the player, at least on PC, and maybe console, but console sometimes has their performance settings already set for what it is, for what will run best. But the player can decide if they want to have Lumen on, if they want to have Lumen off. So just giving them that option by having Lumen on your side means if they want the game to look really, really good, then they can.
But you'll never get general lighting to look the exact same as Lumen would.
Yeah.
So always good if you're building and you're planning on having players on multiple platforms to test out both. Awesome. Josh, are we ready to test this? It's looking so good.
I'm just gonna put a pillar under here.
Make it.
We need the realism.
Just a little realism, not much. Thank you to all the chat heroes who multiple times told us cog top right. We appreciate you.
Yes, thank you.
I always forget when it disappears off my screen how I get it back. Okay. Yeah, I think this is worth running a test.
Let's do it.
You want to do it, Heather?
Oh, you haven't pushed, so.
Okay, I'll push first.
It's on you, Heather. Pressure's on.
You have Fortnite up, so.
I do have Fortnite up and running. So I will pull it and then push the changes. Let me end game while I wait for the changes to come in. Okay, we'll switch back over to my screen for this last step here.
I believe we're about to see a master gamer right now.
Yeah, just based on a comment in the chat, if I was not speed building this, these volumes wouldn't be acceptable. I'd want to make sure that there's, as little ways the player could get clipped in mid-air as possible. But since we're trying to go fast, I haven't put as much care towards that.
We're gonna do the thing.
I'm excited. Why am I nervous right now?
Don't be nervous. It's gonna be great. We just have to let this go into actual playtest mode.
Hopefully this is actually possible. It's our first test, so there's a good chance you can't make the bottom.
No, don't tell me that.
We know the first one is playable.
Right.
Yes.
So
I did
even if it's just one out of two. Yeah.
But I won't be doing that again because, as you can see, I have set up this teleporter here to make my life easier. Once we actually get into playing, just gotta wait.
I think we all understand. Part of dev at any level is hurry up and wait.
Yes.
Let's see. I want some guesses in the chat here. How many of us believe that Heather can nail this first try? I think she can.
No way.
We're not even sure if it's winnable.
Nope. It's winnable, and you're gonna get it first try.
Of course, Josh is putting this on me, and he's the better player. Well, and I don't know how many of y'all tuned into our last stream last week where we talked about the Speedway template, but or was it the week before? I don't know. A few weeks ago. But I got last every single time. It's fine. Okay, so first thing is that everything is still rotating, which is great. We can teleport. And now we're over here and we passed the checkpoint. So now when we die, it'll respawn us up here.
Very nice.
Where am I dropping to? I did it.
Heather!
That was amazing.
Look at this! I
Wow.
told you! First
did.
try!
You did. So just like that, we've made 2 amazing dropper levels. And if I eliminate myself here, I should go back to this level. Because the checkpoint
Amazing.
worked just like Josh thought it would.
Yay.
Blind trust. Let's see if it would have even... Okay. Also, your damage volumes worked on the trees. So it's all good. Yeah, I think that's it. We made 2 pretty fun, pretty silly Fall Guys levels.
Oh
Good
no.
job, team. I know.
Amazing. Amazing work, both of you. This was so much fun. I feel like we all learned a lot, even just like tiny little bits, even us. Well, just being up
Yes.
here and doing this, learned a couple of really interesting little tidbits while going through. So yeah, first of all, any final things that you want to let everybody who's watching know, talk about, anything like that?
I mean, we've got this little thing called Unreal Fest coming up in just a few short weeks. So if you're there, please come say hi to me. I'll be at the booth. Or go say hi to Josh.
Also at the booth.
Or at one of his talks. Or at his workshop. So please come hang out if you're going to be there in person. And if you're not going to be there in person, just continue to interact with us online. We're here. We're excited to make cool things and hang out with y'all.
Yes, absolutely. There is one other final poll that we're going to post up here real quick as well. So we're going to be doing these more often. Right now, they're going to be technically bi-monthly until the new year, just because of craziness with things like Unreal Fest and the holidays coming up and all that. But our next stream that we're planning on doing, our next build along, is going to be in November. And we want y'all to pick... Everything just refreshed. Why? We want y'all's opinion on what the next build should be. So we're gonna toss up another poll here so y'all can pick what our next topic is gonna be for our wonderful builders to get into. While I'm doing that, Josh, tell us something. What's up? Something you want people to know about?
You're really putting me on the spot here.
Hey, you
I didn't have
threw
anything.
Heather into the.
You did. You threw me into the deep end.
That's right. That's
Only
right.
fair.
No, I mean the Fall Guys tools are out right now. We just showed a lot of great tips and tricks, so you guys should, if you haven't already, go try and experiment. You don't have to make droppers. You can make, your normal Fall Guys levels. You can make something that has nothing to do with falling or guys at all. So it's really up to you.
Yeah, make a collectathon or a roleplay game. I want to play a Fall Guys roleplay game. Like, go create it.
Yes. Oh my
No.
God. Are you kidding me? That would be incredible.
Awesome. So our options for the next build along that I think is popping up slowly in the poll is to either do an animation deep dive where we build a cinematic, which is something Josh is particularly good at. We could also do a prop hunt where we'll focus really on level design, similar to this one, but really there's a strong balance that you need to strike when you're making a prop hunt of how busy is the area versus how clear is it for people to still navigate. So that's an option. Or this will be just after spooky season because it'll be in the end of November, but we want spooky season to last all year long, so we could also build a zombie game. So those are kind of our 3 options that we wanted to try and build for you live, so please help us choose which one we're gonna do.
Yes, everybody vote now. I think what we'll do is I'll leave this up for the next, what do you think? Minute feel good?
It feels great.
All right, we'll leave it up for a minute. And then, so run to the poll, run to it before it's gone. And then everybody on Twitch, this is a failing of my own, but I can't figure out how to run an actual poll on Twitch. So just post it, and I will go through and count them out for the vote on the Twitch chat there. Don't worry, you're still included in this. All
Well,
right, let's
and
see.
the other thing too is even if yours doesn't get voted on, or if you have a different idea, please also send those in. Put them in Discord, tweet them at us, let us know. This is definitely going to continue after November. So we want more ideas as well of what kinds of games you want to build.
Yes, absolutely. All right, we've got just a few seconds left here. Get it in, everybody. Oh my gosh. Oh no, we have different answers from
Oh, no.
each chat.
This is kind of amazing.
We'll just have to add it all together later and see what happens, I suppose. Yeah, it literally is, because we've got one YouTube chat voting predominantly for Prop Hunt, the other
Okay.
YouTube chat voting predominantly for Zombie Game. Oh, things just changed. I shouldn't talk too early. This is this is the stress. I have to wait. I have to wait for the end results.
We said we wait a minute.
Yes,
but we
this
also
is true.
really want you to vote.
I want to know. I need to know now. What's next? Okay, let's see. Let's see. Oh, there is a quick question here. How can we go to Unreal Fest? So what you do is you buy a ticket and then you show up. There are, I believe, a few still available. So if you go to either the Epic developer community, you can find more information there where you can register, or we also have a link that is available on the Unreal Engine launcher as well. That'll take you right to where you can register as well. And that's all you got to do. You get yourself a ticket and then figure out, of course, how to get yourself over to Seattle where it's going to be taking place, and then come hang out. Come enjoy stuff. There's lots of cool things going on.
It's gonna be so fun. So fun.
But if you can't join us in person, or you can't afford the ticket, that's okay too. We'd still love to see you for some of the sessions that will be live streamed. So you can tune into that. Or afterwards, it takes us a few weeks to maybe a few months to post all the sessions up online, but they do all get posted up onto the Epic developer community. So that's a great way to continue to still see the content and interact. Plus, I'll be really active on social media. I'm sure lots of other people will too. Like, if you just want to talk about something while we're there that week, please just add us. Like, we're here to chat, and we still want you to feel included even if you can't make it to Seattle.
Yes, absolutely. 100%. There will be links available. I think they're going live later this week for the live streams that'll be going, as Heather was saying, for anyone who maybe can't make it but still wants to be part of the experience. We got you. All right, polls are closing officially, and it seems our winner, insert drum roll here, we should have prepped one.
Next time.
Yeah, next time. It seems the winner for this time around was actually animation, so building a cinematic is our winner.
Right.
All right.
No
Well,
pressure.
Zombie Game is a close second, so we'll keep that in mind.
Okay. Well, we'll prepare a really cool animation that we'll build live in November.
Awesome. Fantastic. So yeah, we'll see you all next time on November 26th for our next Build Along show that we'll be doing here. A big thank you, Heather and Josh, for taking the time to be here today and to build these incredible levels and walk through this whole process with us.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to building an animation.
Yeah, it's gonna be good. It's gonna be really good. I can only imagine the hijinks that will follow.
Yeah, we've got to do some brainstorming and figure out what kind of scene we want to animate. So, should be super fun.
I'm looking forward to it. I really am. It's going to be good. All right. Well, one last thank you again to Heather and Josh for coming on and taking the time to do this today. Thank you, everybody who came to watch the stream. It wouldn't be what it is without you and your participation, especially with all the polls and stuff. It was a lot of fun, had a lot of interaction with this. Really hoping to keep that going for our next one, too. Make sure y'all feel involved in the process, get your voices heard. If you missed any part of the stream, don't worry, because we post all of our streams in video format that can be viewed on demand on both our Twitch and both of our YouTube channels at Unreal Engine, as well as FN Create. So if you missed any part, you can go back, watch the videos later. No worries. We got you. It's all set. You can also keep up with us at Unreal Engine or FN Create on all of our socials to keep up with the latest news, as well as find anything fun, or we do some jokey jokes occasionally as well if you're in the mood for something like that. And last but certainly not least, if you're not already, please come join us on the Epic Developer Community, where we have things like our forums, our documentation, tutorials, all kinds of things that you could ever need all across the board for both UEFN and UE, as well as a myriad of our other tools that are available as well. So again, if you're not part of that, make sure you take a chance to go check it out. Join if you want to. I highly recommend it. I might be biased, but I do quite enjoy our Epic developer community myself. There's lots of wonderful, wonderful people there who are always willing to help answer questions and be part of the community. Let's all build together. Let's all build along together.
Oh no.
Don't worry, the stream is almost over. I'm so sorry, everybody. So thank you so much, everybody, and we'll see you next time on November 26th. Bye, everybody.
Bye.